You are listening to the DADpod. I'm your host, Baxter Colburn. Join me as I try my best to navigate fatherhood for the first time. Along the way, I'll share stories of what's happening in my journey, as well as some stories from other dads who stop by the show from time to time. Fatherhood is an adventure, so let's dive right in. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. This is the next edition of the DADpod, coming to you just a couple days after the holiday festivities have come to a close. Did you have a good Christmas? Did you get what you asked for? Did you have a good time with the family, with the kids, with the in-laws, with all kinds of other great stuff? If you're like me, you are still doing the whole Christmas bit with the family. I'm finishing up some time with my wife's side of the family for a couple more days before we head back to Milwaukee, the place that we love very, very much and call home. So we're actually getting a new home in the next couple of months. It's a very exciting time. Going to be moving, staying in the same city, but moving actually just very close to where we currently live. So that'll be exciting. A new move coming in a couple of months. Just got the paperwork and all that fun stuff settled out. So it's good to know that we will be able to expand the Colburn household and be able to give Beckham some more room as well. Special thanks to everybody that tuned in to the first two episodes of the DADpod. Today is our third episode. Today is titled Traveling and Late Night Drinking. Sometimes those go hand in hand in more than one context, and you're going to understand my reasoning behind that. For those of you that, of course, are already fathers or parents in general, you already have a general idea of where I'm going. I thought that it was a good idea to go that route because that's what I'm living and breathing as we speak at the moment. But, of course, before we do that, I want to say thank you to, as of right now, the 91 people that have liked the DADpod on Facebook. The show page continues to grow. We've got great response. A couple of people have actually even posted on the page as well with their comments and thoughts about the show. So I appreciate that, and thank you for your continued support. I love hearing from you. Please continue to do that. Facebook will be easily the best way to get a hold of the show and myself all together. And, of course, if you do want to listen to the show, you can find it on Spreaker.com, on iTunes. And then, actually, exciting news, we just found out that the show is now available on Google Play as well. So if you go to the Google Play music store, I don't have an Android phone, so I'm not exactly sure how the Android listening market works. But if you're an Android user and you want to get it right on your phone instead of trying to download the Spreaker app or go through Facebook, Google Play is the way to go. So, very exciting time. The show continues to grow, and it's all thanks to you wonderful listeners, and so I appreciate that. As I mentioned to open the show, Christmas time, just a couple of days ago, 3 days specifically from the date of this show airing. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I got some good stuff. It was the year of clothes for me. And growing up, you hear I got clothes for Christmas. A lot of people, you get a little upset about that at times, thinking, oh my gosh, all I got is clothes. But for me, I'm actually excited because since I've been with my wife the last almost 5 years now, I've progressively gotten better at dressing, thanks to her style and her family, and my family as well, too, have continued to dress me in a more appropriate way. I was that guy that wore soccer jerseys and cargo shorts for years, and occasionally pull those out every once in a while. I'll try not to, but I got some really nice flannels. I got some great new pairs of jeans, some sharp jackets. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm upping my fashion game a little bit, which is fantastic. It's fun too because my wife and I and Beckham were able to spend time together on Christmas Eve, do our own little presents together. We actually had our Christmas celebration with my side of the family about a week and a half ago. Got to spend time with them. They came down to our place, which was great to spend time with them. And I was talking about that in the last show, too, about presents you should and should not potentially get for your newborn, or what's appropriate to get a baby when they're several months old. They really aren't going to remember, in all honesty. But I took my own advice, actually. I got Beckham a book for Christmas this year. I only bought him one present. But we like to read stories together as a family, and I thought that buying him a book would be a suitable present, and my wife agreed, so we both bought him the first 8 stories of the Curious George series. If those of you that are big Curious George fans or know what Curious George is, you know all about those beginning stage books and all the great comical and excitement that go into them. So we got that for Beckham to read together as a family now and into the years when he can have a better understanding and comprehend what's going on. So we did that, and now we're, like I said, still at the in-laws, hanging out for a couple more days before we head back to the great city of Milwaukee to get back to normal life, back to normal jobs, back to normalcy. What is normalcy, though, as a parent? Really? Come on, let's be honest about that. So, whatever your definition of normal is, I guess I hope that it satisfies you, I guess, with what you're looking to do. All right, looking at the topics for this week. No guest this week, unfortunately. But I think there's enough topics to still be covered that I think that without a guest, I think we'll be just fine. If you did miss the last show, though, my grandpa gave a fantastic interview. Go and check that out, episode number 2. I believe it was called Diapers, Christmas, and Grandpa. Go check that out, episode number 2 of the DADpod. We're going to kind of be talking about diapers again. It seems to be a reoccurring theme when you have a baby in the house. The first topic today is traveling with a newborn and all the chaos that goes with it. If you are a parent, no matter where you are in your journey, whether you have a baby fresh out the chute or you are a parent of a 45-year-old child, you remember the first time you went on a big trip with your newborn. Don't you? You're sitting there probably right now thinking, going, oh, sure, we went to wherever we went. We went to Tennessee. We went to Kentucky. We went to, wherever, 20 miles away. And traditionally, when it would be you and your husband or you and your wife, you would pack an overnight bag, basically, even for a couple of days. You would probably share a suitcase and then be on your way. But now you throw a baby into the mix, and things just get complicated because you're no longer at your house. You're no longer able to just walk into the next room and grab a diaper when you need to, or grab an outfit. You now have to pack an entire, basically, case of diapers, an entire arsenal of wipes. You need to bring enough outfits to basically clothe a small colony in Africa. You need so many bags that you have to basically fill up another car and rent one and Uber a third. It's ridiculous. We have a decent sized car. We have a Ford Escape, and that thing is packed to the brims because we have my suitcase, my wife's suitcase, which traditionally doesn't happen. But I'm 6 feet tall and my clothes are large. Okay, I'm not fat, but I'm long. I'm lanky. I've got long shirts, long pants, and it takes up a suitcase. And we were gone for a long time for this break, so we needed to make sure we had adequate things. Plus, then you've got everything for the baby. We have an entire thing full just of diapers, an entire thing full just of clothes, an entire thing full of his pacifiers, his diaper bag. We brought a little Rocky hold thing for him as well, too, that kind of like a little bassinet basically for him. We brought all that with us, plus all the Christmas presents. We may as well have taken our 2 cats with us as well, too, for goodness sakes, because we were literally stuffed to the brim, and my wife and I were both like, you know what, we probably could just take what we're taking with us now and just go completely start over at an entirely different place. We just couldn't. At that point, it really felt like that's what we were going to do. So if you can, limit what you take, especially from a parent perspective. It's about the kid. Try to bring things that you can reuse, or if you know you're going to a place that has laundry that is accessible to you, try to use it if you can, because otherwise you just get overstocked and stressed, and it's just not a good thing. That's definitely tip number 1. Make sure you pack the necessities, but don't go overboard with it, because you're giving gifts, especially at Christmas, but you also receive gifts as well. So make sure that you don't go overboard with it. Next thing, try to limit the amount of places you travel while you are on the holidays. We're going to be going to 2 different places while we are here visiting my wife's family. But really try to find a home base if you can in those moments. Don't go to 3 or 4 different places. Don't go to aunties and uncles and grandma and grandpas and cousins and all those places if you can help it. Try to limit it, especially when you've got a child under the age of 1, because consistency is already hard at this point. I mean, my son Beckham, he's 6 weeks old, and he's already done not a lot of traveling, but enough traveling that he is probably slightly confused on his consistent home base. I'm pretty sure he knows where he lives, but considering that we are now gone for about a week and a half visiting family for Christmas, he's going to get used to a whole new routine. He's going to get used to a whole new sleeping environment, And then we're going to go home and we're going to mix it all up again and go back to the quote-unquote normal way of how things go. So try to limit the amount of traveling that you do when you do actually leave for a vacation, because you might confuse the newborn, you might confuse yourself as a parent, and a big thing is consistency is key for babies early on. Try to be consistent as you can with the routines. Even if you are at a different place, try to be as consistent. So if you at 9 o'clock try to wrap things up, whether you're at home or at grandma's, try to do that. Try to continue to do that consistently. It'll do the baby worlds of good when it comes to that, in all honesty. So consistency is the key. Don't pack a lot. And, well, don't pack a lot for you personally, but pack a lot for the baby, of course, because you never know what's going to happen. Explosions, milk spillages, etc. Children are crazy, aren't they? They're kind of like nuclear bombs. They just leave havoc anywhere they go, and you never really know what the damage is going to be until you're actually there. So it's better to be over-prepared for the child, but you for yourself as an adult, you'd like to think you have your life semi-together at that point, that you don't need to bring a suitcase and a half full of your own clothing. I'm guilty of that, by the way. All right, the other topic I want to talk about this week is late-night drinking. No, I'm not talking about getting your favorite gin mixer on the rocks, or a whiskey Coke, or your favorite Miller product on tap. None of which sponsor the show. If they want to, that'd be great. I'm talking about late night feedings. I'm talking about you go to sleep, it's been a long day, everybody's in bed at 11 o'clock, potentially. You get the baby down around 9:30, you and your wife hang out with the family or whatever for a little while, for another hour or so, and you head to bed for the first time around 10:30 or 11. Your head hits the pillow, and what do you hear? Yes, the baby crying. Meaning, hey, I'm hungry. A couple of things that might be able to help relieve a little bit of stress when this comes up. I know that this can sometimes cause a lot of stress in certain people's lives, and the way that you can relieve a little bit of that stress, especially on your wife, because let's be honest, she works very hard to keep the baby, alive, of course, but also just, is the sole provider for the most part. If you are doing breastfeeding, if you're using breast milk, whether it's in bottles or straight from mom, there's not much you as a guy can do until you're actually with a bottle in hand. So if that's what you're doing, if you're not doing the formula thing yet, if you are doing the formula thing, obviously you're in a little bit different situation. You guys can kind of alternate feedings when it comes to things like that. But when you are doing the breast milk thing, like my wife and I are doing right now, a couple of things that you can try to do to hopefully relieve the stress from your wife, but also just kind of keep things, as we mentioned, consistent with the middle of the night routines. Try to help your wife out by taking the night shift. It might not sound glamorous, and I know everybody loves to sleep. I love to sleep. I remember those days when I could sleep. I will probably never sleep the same again until my wife and I are done having kids, which, if we go on the path we're talking about, that might be maybe 26 to 30 years from now. We'll have to see. No, I don't honestly know. We're talking about having between 2 to 4 kids. We'll have to see. We have to get through one first, okay? We're only 6 weeks in, I don't want to overcomplicate this, okay? But, try to help take the night shift if you can from your wife. Try to be that front line that gets up, that feeds the baby, that changes the diaper, that just generally checks in on the baby, because your wife, by the time she comes to bed, is exhausted from a long day, whether it's been feeding or playing mom or playing wife or playing friend or daughter or everything else that your wife does on a daily basis. So the least you can do is try to take the night shift at least a couple times a week if you can, bare minimum. A big way to help maximize your efforts on the night shift is to remind your wife, if she is breastfeeding, to make sure she pumps before she goes to bed, because then you will be able to have a full bottle of breast milk that you can provide for your child in the middle of the evening, so that way you don't have to wake her up. Because, as we mentioned, we're trying to maximize the amount of time your wife can sleep. Happy wife, happy life, as many folks know, of course, for the most part. Within reason. That's a whole nother. This isn't a relationship show, but that's just a general statement. Anyway, so if you can remind your wife to, if your wife is fortunate enough to be able to pump 4 to 6 ounces, that certainly is a big help in the middle of the evening, because then that usually will put you through a majority of the dead of night hours, that 2 to 4 a.m. range where you want to let your wife sleep. You can get up, feed the baby, change it, burp it, send it back to bed. Everybody's happy. You get a couple more hours before the whole process starts again. If you do have to wake up your wife, though, try to do it gradually, because if your wife is anything like mine, you can't just shake her and be like, wake up, wake up. It just won't end well. You'll likely end up decapitated on the floor. Just not going to go well, because that's just the type of person she is. And I respect that. I take a while to wake up as well, in all honesty. So gradually wake them up. And, that will be the safest route for all parties involved. If you do have to wake her up, though, as we mentioned, do it gradually. Give her a little nudge saying, hey, baby's going to want to feed. Take the baby, change their diaper first, so you can buy your wife more time to regain a little bit more consciousness if she can at that point. So that way you aren't just like trying to thrust a screaming baby on them at 2 a.m. and they're barely conscious. Just not going to end well for all parties involved. The baby's going to wind up just with milk everywhere, and your wife's going to be upset. You're going to get upset. It's not going to end well. So try to run a little bit of interference. Gradually try to wake her up. Go change the baby's diaper. That'll allow her to set up, prep herself, get everything she needs to. And then by the time you come back from changing the diaper, mom should, at that point, be in a much better place to be able to feed. And then she'll be able to feed from her directly if that's what you guys are doing. Like I said, if this is all hinging on the fact of if you're not doing formula. If you're doing formula, dads, don't even touch your wife. Let her sleep the entire night. Make the darn bottle. Let your wife sleep. You need to do this. It's the one thing you can do, And my wife is always funny. She always looks at me at times and she says, I really don't think it's fair that, the guy doesn't ever have to do anything. Not necessarily referencing to me, but referencing guys as a whole. She's like, the wife has to carry the baby for 9 months. The wife has to give birth. The wife has to feed off of her. The wife has to do this. The wife has to do that. Or the woman, I should say, not necessarily the wife, the woman as a whole. So guys, if you can help relieve a little bit of stress, do it, please. Help your wife out, your girlfriend, your lover, whatever it is, however you've become a father. Try to help out, okay? Be a man in this situation and step up and try to help make a difference, okay? So those would be the big ones. So like I said, your reminders for late night drinking when it comes for your baby. Try to help by taking the night shift. Remind your significant other to pump before they go to bed, so that way you've got a fresh bottle if that's the route you're going, and or make a formula bottle. You don't have to make it yet because you don't want it to go bad. And then if you do have to wake them up, though, do it gradually and run interference by changing a diaper, prolonging the wake-up process for your significant other. That way they can be in a little bit more alert state when it comes to the actual feeding that they have to do. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Like I said, traveling with a newborn and all the chaos that goes with it, late-night drinking, 2 big things that I think a lot of parents sometimes struggle with. And I hope that my hope is with all of this that I can be somewhat helpful. I don't know everything. I've made that very clear. I'm a new father. I am still trying to learn, hence the reason I try to have other dads on the show to learn from them. And I'd like to try to share my experiences as well. I will say, one of the most rewarding things about being a father is seeing your children grow. I don't want to go into too much of a tangent, but I will say this fast. My son just turned 6 weeks this last week on Tuesday, and it's incredible to see the amount of growth that he has sustained from the time he was born. He was 7 pounds exactly, 18 inches, and then as of his doctor's appointment just a couple of days ago, he is now 8 pounds, 13 ounces, probably a little bit more by now, and he's 22 inches. So it's really cool to see the development of your child from the very, very beginning to, the month milestones as you continue to grow, month by month, year by year. And I know that, as you heard from my grandpa in the last episode, it goes by way too fast, and you certainly just need to embrace it. Enjoy the time that it comes. Holidays are a special time because that's when a lot of families really take the time to come together as a family, and you get to make all these incredible memories that you will try to remember for a lifetime. I'm always going to remember Beckham's first Christmas. I will. It was very memorable, and I'm very excited about that. I will say, too, Beckham got me some great Christmas presents this year. He got me new pants and a great shirt. He got me the Peanuts movie. For those of you that don't know me, I love Charlie Brown and Snoopy and the Peanuts gang. He got me the Peanuts movie. So excited. And just this little side caveat, he got me David Beckham cologne as well, too, which I already was previously wearing before he was born, but kind of funny that it worked out that way. Thank you for joining me for the Dad Pod. The show will come out on Wednesdays. If you'd like what you heard today, please share it with your friends, your family, and other dads that you might know as well. If you want to let me know your thoughts, send the Dad Pod a Facebook message, or you can drop me an email as well by going to baxterc20@gmail.com, BAXTERC20@gmail.com. Fatherhood can be scary, but not when we have others helping you along the way. Together we can all experience what being a father is all about. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time on the Dad Pod.